Big news roundup from around the world, but a lot of it is England. Adoption is up. Wait, adoption is down. Jaguar is too silly. And of course, we've got headlines about all that and more. We've even going to cover a little bit about ways to persuade people to buy cars and the reason we shouldn't. Of course, the news is very all over the place, a little bipolar at times, but so are we. I'm Brian, and this is Mark over here. Welcome to Future Ozza. So Mark is the host of the Tesla Life, a fantastic podcast every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. A lot of fun. They do read the chat. So if you have questions that you need answers to, they will at least see them. I have found from my own personal experience that sometimes they just look at the chat, laugh at my joke, and determine that that is not appropriate for all audiences and don't answer it. So I don't know.
You've caught on, have you, Brian?
I have. I do it on purpose. I know some of my jokes are potentially off color. Speaking of which, electric cars make up 1 in 4 sold in November. Now, if you want to read more about this story, just go to Google and type in BBC and I guess type in electric excitement with BBC and make sure safe search is off because that will definitely change your results. Don't click on images or do, but don't tell me what it brings up. I'm sure it'll bring up this. And if it doesn't and your results are wrong, just also type in pretty blonde BBC and see what kind of results you get. Don't do any of that. That's the off-color segue. Do you know that 1 in 4, they're at 25% in the UK, EV adoption? According to industry figures, manufacturers gave massive discounts of around $4 billion pounds. So that's quite heavy on electric vehicles. Some firms are expected to miss the government's EV sales targets this year and could face fines. But flexibilities in the rules mean that this is unlikely. Hey, you did your best. Sales of new petrol cars fell by more than 17%. Diesel fell 10%, while hybrids and plug-ins dropped more than 3 and 1%. So even the hybrids are losing out to BEV in the UK. Mm-hmm. What do you make of it?
I think this is, again, the sale of EVs in the marketplace, any marketplace, at this point is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride. We're going to have ups, we're going to have downs, we're going to have even patches because we're just getting into the main amount of people that are buying car. The buying car public, the general buying car public is being introduced to these things. They've got questions. They're test driving them. They're taking a look at things. They're weighing options. And this is going to be the case for a few years as we get a little bit, it'll grow, but there'll be ups and bumps. And that's just the way it is with a new technology.
You've got Tesla, you've got BYD, you've got a number of companies that have ups. And then you've got, GM and Ford who clearly have downs. Oh, that's a different syndrome. So Britain's all-electric car rollout is hitting speed bumps. Some clumsy EV targets will get revised. After that, the road. So we're looking at The Economist here. They've got a paywall. I'm not interested in that. But the final months, and in the future, here's a question for you guys in the comments. Should I stop using paywalled sources and should I stop linking to them in the description? Should I just show them but not link them? Because paywalls, really, you want me to have 500 subscriptions? Come on. Yeah, it's a little bumpy, but the bumps they're mentioning are just difficulty hitting targets, not like real obstacles. Should we be concerned?
Absolutely not. As mentioned before, this is something that's happening the way it's going to happen. We're not going to ramp up to 50, 80, 100%. It's not like that. You have to go a little bit slower, and there's going to be more people to convince and change. And that area of indecision is going to make the market go up and down. And as mentioned here, there's some bumps. That's just the way it is. You can't expect every year to have a 50% over the sale of last year. That just doesn't happen. You do that in the beginning, but as you work into the middle, that goes away.
It does. I'm not worried about it. What I'm a little more worried about is legendary British EV company, now a Indian one owned by Tata, begun. The Jaguars have. Woke electric car slammed by Gen Z. What on earth is Jag thinking? First of all, I'd like to point out that companies can't be woke. Companies don't care. They want your money. And if being diverse is what gets them money, they'll be diverse. And if being racist or sexist or misogynistic or anything else will make them get paid, well, then you're the New York Post. No, I give them grief. But companies don't care. They just want money. That's their whole job. So slamming companies for being woke is just silly. What is also silly? This. Come on. It's a beautiful Batmobile, but it is, I would put this under the category of all press is good press, especially when you don't have a product to sell. We're going to stay in the news because of this. We're going to stay in people's heads because of this crazy, outlandish thing we've done. And thank goodness, because we ain't making cars for a year.
Yeah, Jaguar has had some serious issues over the past couple of years, especially in their electrification aims, where we saw the Jaguar I-Pace completely fail. And now Jaguar is buying them back from customers. So, yeah, Jaguar's got some real thinking to do. And to throw up some eye candy like this just to get people to talk about them is, like you said, Brian, it's probably all they're after.
Yeah, it is hopefully, and this isn't an actual direction, because if it is, it's not going to last. Two mechanics shared their thoughts about whether people should buy electric vehicles. I don't know that we'd have the electricity to do it. Mark, how about you? Do you not know?
I know there's lots of electricity. We are not going to have any problem in getting electricity to fill up these cars. And that's just blatant wrong thinking.
Yeah. Mechanics are skilled at a particular thing. And I'm not convinced that grid distribution is that area of competency for them. I've known mechanics who anything new that would come out, they despised it. Oh man, I got to deal with fuel injection instead of carburetors. Yeah. ABS systems, new hassles, new diagnostic tools. Yep. Is there enough electricity to go 100% EV today? I don't think so. I think that would be an undue strain. Good news, it's going to take 20 years to get to 100% EV. So we've got a few minutes to get this sorted out. And if you look at new energy generation, solar and wind are coming online quick. Solar has been coming on quick. We'll see if the tariffs on solar panels stick, because if they do, that will slow it down. But it has been so far, the explosion we've seen in new energy generation has been pretty encouraging.
Keep in mind, all those utility companies that supply you with electricity, they all want to make more money. So guess what? If there's an option to increase the production of electricity or the distribution of electricity, they are putting their best minds at work to do that, because they make money from how much they sell.
Yes. Honestly, I wonder if the if Con Edison is subsidizing the Hummer EV, because that girl is thirsty. So ridiculous. But Shell Recharge already has a network. I know BP has a number of EV charging solutions. They're in the business of selling energy. And energy is, they would prefer to sell something that they can get for a penny and sell for $1. But in some cases with the electricity, they are doing that. They are buying it for 5 cents, 7 cents a kilowatt and selling it for 80 cents, $1 a kilowatt hour. We need more competition, and it will come. Last story before we get on to the Q&A. That's a whole thing we do. We do the whole question and answer thing. It's the Q&A hole is what we do. We've got this here, 5 ways to persuade more people to buy electric cars. Now, before I get into it, what do you imagine this article is about?
I would imagine from the BBC that this article is about how they can reduce the cost of electric cars. That would be number one. The other thing will be, how do you get people concerned about range anxiety to be able to, how can they fuel their cars to alleviate that worry? That would be my top 2 things.
Okay, so you did way better than I did. I thought it was going to be about education campaigns, but it's not. It's about manufacturers. And again, if you want, it really is. And we'll get into it here in a second. But again, if you want to learn more about this, just go to Google and type in BBC and maybe, I don't know, pretty ladies stuffing one into the thing. I don't know
Oh
what
my
I
gosh.
don't know what you type. I don't know how to get. I'm not good with the Googles. Don't type that. Don't type that. Type something else. So number one, subsidize the cost. So we're going from that side. We're going from not the consumer side, but the business side. This is a business article. Make cheaper electric cars. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cut out the confusion. Government says, so this is a UK focused article. There is confusion. And there are some other UK focused ones. Cut the VAT on public charging points. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but in England, in the UK, you have a value added tax. On residential power, it's something like 2-3%. But on public chargers, it's, so there we go, 5% VAT on electricity at home, but 20% when you charge in public. So if you can't afford a house, you really can't afford to because you're paying retail prices for your electricity plus a 20% VAT. That's ridiculous. Gotta normalize that. And then lastly, sort out the public charging network. Read any survey of potential buyers' attitudes and concerns about charging infrastructure will be at or near the top. The first half is in your head, people worrying about it, but the second half is not in your head. It's in your neighborhood. And I know people in Europe who do not have charging at home, who struggle to find good charging that's reasonably convenient and reliable. All true things. And yeah, any thoughts on that before we move on?
I think a lot of districts still have to worry about this type of stuff. We've all talked about the affordable EV. We've talked about the mass EV that's available to everybody. And when that comes along, with volume comes reductions in price. And same holds true for the charging network. Depending where you are, there may be a bit of a charging desert, but those holes are being filled in as we speak.
All true things. Did I? Oh man, yesterday I didn't show the funny thumbnail, the one that had our cascade of endless ones. I'll have to do this guy instead. Here we are. It'll have to do. So, and yeah, you know what we're talking about there. Oh, by the way, like videos. It's free. You get to do that. I will not charge you for liking my videos. Comments are mandatory. You guys know that. Robot named Jack for changing tires. I guess Mark saw that Tom Hanks post-apocalyptic movie.
Actually, I did not see that post-apocalyptic movie. I didn't see it, but I just thought, if a robot's changing a tire in a car, it's got to be Jack.
I would agree. I did see that movie. I didn't remember that joke, which is, yeah.
Gonna have to go looking for that one.
I think I saw it on a flight. Why does this great company keep going down? Well,
which company?
Right? I think, well, if the question is stock, because the market can be irrational. If the question is Tesla, I apologize. This 7-day-old comment is out of date. It has gone up. Yeah, don't let daily stock movement impact your emotional well-being. Got to zoom out. If you're a trader, that is your stress is what you do. If you're an investor, look at a longer horizon. Anything you wish to add to that?
Sound advice.
Yeah. If I was considering, I would wait for the new Model Y long range, 2 to 3 months, hopefully. Any predictions?
Oh, man. You've got to examine your situation. If you can afford to wait and you've got no immediate need, then wait. Okay, it may be 2 to 3 months. It may be 6 months. It may be a little bit longer. But you know what? If you need something today, take the deals that are out there. Don't wait forever and hurt yourself by waiting or hoping that something's going to show up tomorrow.
There are aggressive deals being offered right now. 1,000 off 3 and Y if you use my referral code, link in the description. There is a 2,000 off SX or Cybertruck. There is 0% financing if you get either certain models or buy FSD through, if you place an order in the next week-ish. I think it extends to the 15th. And you can stack onto that a veterans incentive. If you are a veteran, they will give you another 1,000 off. These all work together. But the real question is, do you need a car? If you need a car, then I would say buy a car. And if you don't, but you want a car, well, there's some middle ground there. You'll have to decide. Optimus Robot can catch a ball now. So what's next? Ping pong championship? Yeah, I like it.
Definitely going to be enrolled in the Olympics, the Robot Olympics, which is going to be a new one for the Olympics. But
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Two robots going ping pong at each other for 4.5 hours with the lights out. Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, so there are some Olympic events that I think would be pointless. Weightlifting, pointless. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just an industrial arm. Don't bother. But like fencing, oh, that would be a challenge. Baseball, it'd be a challenge.
How about equestrian?
Oh my gosh. Oh, those poor horses are so confused. But the jockey could weigh, trimming weight from the Optimus jockey is great. Yeah, definitely Google BBC jockey and see some stories about horses. Or just put in horse. So yeah, guys, don't do any of that. That was terrible advice. I realize now the error of my ways. Where was the link to the AI generated nightmares that I posted? Those were in my account. I don't know if those are public, so you just had to enjoy them in the moment. Let's wind this down. While we finish up, I do want to thank Mark for joining us. The Tesla Life Show is great. It's a lot of fun. 3 great hosts and periodically a guest or two and all the news you need. Will the Canoe EV have its own paddles, and will they be mandatory or optional? I mean, Canoe does make apparently an EV, and I think it is already up a creek without a paddle.
It's got a glass bottom boat. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I love it. I wish they would succeed. I don't know if that's in the cards for them. Brake inside the motor. Oh, we were talking about the Mercedes in motor braking is typical German engineering. Where can we find complexity? Why not hub motors, Mercedes? Where does any dust go, I wonder? Also, no part is the best part. Taken to the extreme, no car at all. Call it invisible. Machu Picchu is a lot of fun. I hearted that. Machu Picchu gives me the best kinds of grief all the time. And yeah, we go with that. All right. So that is sufficient. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Guys, what do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. Ask your questions. We will answer them. If you haven't checked out my Cybercab series from when I got to see it, to touch it, to knock on the panels, even though they asked me not to, I waited until they were distracted. But we did get answers on everything. And I am sharing them in a multi-part series, and I'm not spreading it out because I'm mean. It's because some people don't want to watch an hour or 2 straight, and it's because getting them edited and out is more important than waiting forever and getting it perfect. So everybody, like, subscribe, stay tuned, stay juicy. I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, in the comments of this and so many other videos, since comments remain mandatory.